Welcome to Japji Sahib, Pauri 17. This is a very interesting Pauri. It was relevant yesterday and it is relevant today. There are so many paths. There are actually countless paths that lead to the same truth. Christians have their own path. Muslims have their own path. Hindus have their own path. The Buddhists, the Jains, the Greeks, and so many more. All paths lead to the same truth, the same destination, the same awareness. Now, infiltrated into the right paths, there are also countless wrong paths. These wrong paths have been devised by the not so clear minds. Not to blame anyone, but a true sincere seeker does get confused between what is the correct marga and the wrong marga. Yeah? The kumarga is the wrong marga or the wrong path. The correct path is the sumarga, the right path. Sumarga takes you to Satya, the truth. Kumarga takes you to Asatya, the untruth. There are countless paths out there. They tend to confuse us. They are equally luring. And it is very difficult for a simple layman to decipher whether this is the sumarga or the kumarga, the right path or the wrong path. Now, what does such a person do? Let's see what Nanak has to say. Pauri 17. Asankh jap, asankh pao, asankh puja, asankh taptao, asankh granth, mukh ved path, asankh jog, man rahe udas, asankh bhagat, gun gyan vichar, asankh sati, asankh datar, asankh sur, muh bakhsar, asankh mon, livilai atar, kudrat kavan kahan vichar, variya na java ek baar, jo tud paavai sai palikar, tu sada salamat Nirankar. Asankh jap, asankh bhav. There are countless japas. Japas means recitation of a particular word, a particular line, a continuous recitation of a mantra is japa. And there are countless of them. Which one should I take up? Which one is right for me? This is the confusion that every sincere seeker must come across. He doesn't know what to do with so many japas. Second, asankh bhav bhakti. Everybody has different expressions of their devotion. Everybody has different descriptions of devotions. So sincere seeker then starts doubting himself whether am I devoted or not? Or is devotion a prerequisite? Because it's not happening from my core. Is it something that must happen, or is it okay if it does not happen? Don't you have such doubts too? Asankha Granth. There are countless scriptures. One tells you the path of Sakshi Bhav. One tells you the path of Ekagrata. One tells you the path of becoming a sannyasi or getting established in the center. One gives you the path of pure experiencing and no belief. Another gives you a path of only belief and no experiencing. This gets confusing for a seeker because there are so many scriptures out there. Asankha Granth. Countless scriptures. Asankhamukh. These are the mouths that recite the scriptures. The so-called teachers are countless who teach you the scriptures. Which teacher is right? Which teacher is wrong? Which teacher will take me there? And which teacher will lead me astray? Aren't these doubts also coming up in your mind since you started walking the spiritual path? Asankha Yoga, by which the mind becomes totally centered, is called Yoga. Yoga itself means coming to that awareness and getting established there. And there are so many different ways, different methodologies of coming to that awareness. Which one should a sincere seeker adopt? There are countless of them. Then Asankha Sati. Sati here is so many sattvic people, so many different types of sattvic people. Sattvic means the correct balance of rajas and tamas, where rajas is activity and tamas is dullness, laziness, inertia. Yeah, so sattva is the perfect balance of the two. And there are so many countless teachers out there or countless sattvic people out there who give different kinds of advice on how to get there. Who to follow? And there are asankhadata. That means there are countless givers of this knowledge, countless teachers of this knowledge. Asankhasur Muabhaksar means there are countless spiritual warriors. Sur here is the Hindi word shur, yeah, the courageous one. You need courage on the path. So there are asankh, there are countless of them. Asankh Bhagat, there are countless devotees out there who keep singing the praises, and there are countless different kinds of gyans out there, knowledge, the spiritual knowledge out there. What does a spiritual seeker really adopt? Which one is right for him? Asankhamon Livalayatar. There are so many countless silent sages. Mon is the word for silence. They are vibrating like a tar, like the string of a veena in silence. How does one know how to understand their silence? The beauty of silence is enormous. The power of silence is enormous. But a simple spiritual seeker who still does not understand silence, how does he start walking the path? Or how does he know that the path that he has chosen is the right path for him? Kudrat kavan kaha vichar. How can that creative power be described, be known, be understood? This path, though beautiful, can also lead one astray, can also create delusion. And that is why many people just fall off the path. They prefer to be atheists, non believers, because it is easier to be a non believer than somebody who seeks, because seeking is tough. Every religion has their own scripture. Every scripture says that I am the final scripture. Everyone says my God is the best God. Where does the sincere seeker look? Where should he go? It is very difficult for someone to find the truth. At the most, he can say, I am an agyani, I am unwise, and I'm looking for wisdom. I want to reach the highest. But how do I recognize that this guru is the right guru? This truth is the truth. This path is the path for me. He gets caught up in the war between religions, between scriptures, between the bad guru and the good guru. So, for such a one, Nanak says, Kudrat kavan kaha vichar, variya na jawa ek var. That creative power, that power of this universe cannot be described in words. How much ever gurus describe, they fall short. How much ever scriptures describe, they fall short. Therefore, this power, which is indescribable, this power can never be attained. So don't have that feverishness. I want to attain something. I want to get that highest truth. You just flow, he says. Varya na java ekvar means more than once I am ready to sacrifice myself. Surrender, let go. Just go with the flow, he says. Hukum, whatever is your hukum is acceptable to me. Whatever you command, so be it. I surrender to that flow. That flow will take me wherever I need to go. So the next sentence, Jo tud pavai Sai balikar. Whatever pleases you, O Sai, that is good for me. Tu sada salamat nirankar. You are the eternal and formless one. Whatever pleases you, that will be the best for me. This is true surrender. It's very interesting. We give up many times, but we give up after we run, try really hard, work day and night, become feverish about it, and when we just cannot get it, then we give up. This is not real surrender. Surrender cannot have a defeatist attitude. Surrender is that love. Like how a little child surrenders to the mother. The mother will help me cross the street. The mother will take care of me. The mother will feed me when it's required. The mother will give me what needs to be given. The mother will take away what needs to be taken away. And everything is good. The way the child holds the mother's finger and walks without an expectation, without a condition, beshart, without a condition. That is true surrender. If you keep the destination in mind and say, only when I get this, then only I surrender to the flow, then it is not real surrender. It's easy to say I surrender when everything in life is hunky-dory, or whatever you want is good, whatever the flow brings, I accept, I agree. No. When life is showering thorns on you, and even then you accept it as this is the flow, and I accept this flow as it is. I embrace this flow. I don't embrace only the shower of petals, I also embrace the shower of thorns. Whatever is right for me, that is what the flow will bring my way. Whether it is an attainment or it is a loss, it doesn't matter. That is called true surrender. That is called hukum. Homework for you. Have you been able to surrender totally yet? You check. Nanak speaks about Param Samarpan, complete surrender. What is complete surrender or total surrender? जो तेरी मर्जी उसमें मैं राजी. Whatever is your command, I embrace that. Whether you take me one way or you don't take me that way, whether you give me something or you don't give it to me, whatever is your command, it is acceptable to me. I embrace it. Even Krishna says, Sarvan dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam raja. You drop everything. You surrender only to me. And who is this? You're not surrendering to an idol outside. You're not surrendering to a physical body outside. You are surrendering to the law, to hukum, to that flow. That flow has been guiding you. It has always been guiding you. In fact, that flow decides which way you should go. You have really never had a say. It's just this ego that comes up and says, no, I am the one who commands this flow. I am the one who has achieved this. I am the one who has made this happen. This ego is deluded. In fact, the ego itself doesn't even exist. It is nothing but a thought. The I thought. This I thought just takes up some or the other mask like a joker and claims doership. Drop this doership. Recognize that the flow has always been leading me. I have never been doing anything. It has always taken me into a particular direction. It has molded my life. I have not molded my life. I am too small to even do that. When the I falls off, when the I drops away, the delusion sheds away. You see the truth. That Kudrat Kaman Kahan Vichar. How can the power of this creation even be put in words? How can it be described? How can it even be grasped by thought? The potency of this power is immeasurable, and that is what commands my flow. Jo hukum, whatever is the command, I embrace it. And how will this happen? Nanak says, through contentment. Contentment will happen naturally. You cannot cultivate it. It will happen by seeing the truth as it is, by recognizing that I have never done anything. Everything has been happening as a part of this flow. It comes my way, I just act. Sometimes I start thinking, oh, I am the one who has commanded this flow. I am the one who has made it happen. The ownership comes up, the doership comes up. Drop it, recognize the folly and drop it again and again, again and again, again and again, drop it. What will happen by dropping it repeatedly? You will reach a state naturally of contentment. That contentment comes from this recognition, oh, everything is happening. I am not doing anything. I have never done anything. And I do not have to do anything. Such a relief. That relief brings contentment. You become content with what is. That contentment is an expression of the truth. It is a product of Satya. It is born out of seeing this truth that was hidden behind your deluded doership or your deluded bhava of doership. You just start recognizing the flow. It is happening anyways. The contentment shall follow in its own time. The folly is simply that your ego loves to interfere with the flow and take ownership of it and become the doer. I'll tell you a story. I think it is Tolstoy's story. The Lord of Death had commanded his messenger of death, or Devdut, we'll call him, to go down to earth, and it was time up for a woman who had just given birth about a year ago to triplets, and she did not have any family, any support. She was a single mother taking care of triplets, and it was her time to pass on. So the Lord of Death tells Devdut, go down, and this is the lady whose time it is to move on. Devdut goes there and he sees, oh, this lady has three beautiful little infants, and what will happen to these infants if this lady is killed or dies? So Devdut does not fulfill his duty and goes back to the Lord of Death, and he says, oh, I could not do it. This lady had three infants, and how would the three infants take care of themselves? They don't have a family. She was the only one who can take care of them. They will become orphans. He got into his own emotions and he did not fulfill his duty, and he apologized for that to the Lord of Death. The Lord of Death said that, so you think you are greater than the one who commands birth and commands death? You are greater than the one who decides the time of birth and decides the time of death? You think that you are greater than Niyati? Devdutt stood there ashamed but didn't know what to say. So the Lord of Death banished him and said, "You will go down to earth as a punishment, and you will come back only that day when you see the truth." So Devdutt is banished. He goes down to earth and he is a poor man on the street, shivering in the cold. It's snowing and he doesn't have enough warm clothes. A poor cobbler is walking past. He had just bought blankets from the market for his family, and he only had so much money with which he had purchased the blankets, and he saw this poor man on the street shivering. So the cobbler gave Devdutt the blankets. Devdutt thanked him. The cobbler said, "Where do you live?" And Devdutt said, "I have no one. I have nowhere to go. I will live on the street." And the cobbler was very compassionate and said, "You come and live with me." The cobbler took Devdutt home. Then Devdutt lived with them and learnt the cobbler's skills, and he started making shoes, and soon the cobbler became very popular. His shoes became very, very popular. Very soon the poor cobbler was not poor anymore, and he had a lot of work, and Devdutt had some kind of magical hands that could make shoes very quickly. Word spread near and far, and one day the king's minister came and brought a piece of leather and said, "This is a very valuable piece of leather, and there isn't one more available out there. So be very careful. Make the most beautiful boots for the king." So David started working. Now his magical hands made slippers and not boots. The cobbler got very angry and said, "This was the only piece of leather and you have ruined it. Now the king will hang me alive." And David just stood there not knowing what to do. And immediately the minister came running and said that the king has just passed away, so please make slippers and do not make boots out of them. The cobbler was astonished as to how this happened. Devdutt just smiled. Many miracles followed, where Devdutt helped the cobbler in many ways. One fine day, an older couple came with three beautiful daughters. These three beautiful daughters were to get married, so the most beautiful shoes had to be made for them. These daughters of the rich couple were going to be married into the king's family. Now Devdutt looked at the three daughters and immediately figured it out that these are those three little infants of that lady who he was commanded to take the life of. Then Devdutt asked the couple. The rich couple said that we are neighbors of this poor lady who passed away 16 or whatever 18 years ago, and she left behind these three beautiful daughters, and we did not have children, so we just took them over. They have lived a beautiful life with all the luxuries of the world, and they have led a happy life, and now they are getting married into the king's family. And Devdutt laughed and laughed and laughed. He understood that Niyati has its own ways, that the flow brings whatever is needed to a person. There is no need for your ego to interfere and try to break. There is no need for the I to interfere. So, from this story, you would have understood now that what is your folly? Your only folly is in interfering with the flow. Whatever the flow commands, you supply. If the flow does not make any demand from you, you just stay. Do not jump in. Do not claim any doership. Do not claim any ownership. Just be. Just be. जो तेरी मर्जी, जो तेरा हुक्म. Whatever is your command, whatever is your desire, I embrace that. One who learns this skill, one who learns to go with the flow, such a one does not need a guru, does not need scriptures, does not need any pujas or worships, does not need any japas or mantras, does not need any yoga, does not need any bhakti. He does not need anything. He just can go with the flow. He does not have to get confused with the countless paths out there. He, of course, does not disrespect anyone or anything. He just goes with his flow. This is the highest knowledge. If this appeals to you, this chimes with the tune of your heart, just go with the flow. Jo hukum, jo hukum. There is only the highest power, the creative power. Kudrat kavan kaha vichar, varya na jawa ek var. Jo tud pave sai balikar, tu sada salamat nirankar. Whatever is your command, I embrace that. Jo hukum. See you next week.